Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you Corbeau versus Johny247trace in round 2 of the 4th Asia Pacific tournament. So Corbeau previously defeated Urmen to find his way here, defeated Urmen's 12th SS Panzer with his 3rd Fallschirmjäger, exploiting the limited options of the 12th SS versus things like HS-129s in the early phases. So yeah, Corbeau won out there pretty convincingly. And then now he's going to be going up against Johnny, who got a bye through round 1, hasn't yet played in the tournament thus far, and is going to be taking out the 352nd in this one. Today we're going to be seeing Omaha, and it's an interesting map, quite closed off, actually suits the 3rd Fallschirmjäger quite well. 352nd can do okay though. They're just going to have to be careful, specifically around the L6s, because if the Pak-38s say get pinned early on, those L6s could go on an absolute rampage early on. So it's really just about smart placement with Pak-38s, smart placement with things like Panzerschrecks, and then he should be safe moving through the phases in order to use his artillery maybe to sort of put the pressure onto the expensive infantry and then push with his weaker infantry onto them. Because the infantry matchup is also something that's incredibly favoured towards the 3rd Fallschirmjäger, but can be assisted on the side of the 352nd by using things like artillery. It looks like so far Johnny's going to be bringing down a Panzerjäger. It's a relatively nice choice. If he can get it into a decent location to take on an L6, it would be more useful in the open, because it has just about enough armor to stop an L6 from penetrating it from range, and has more than enough AP itself to penetrate an L6. So I think Johnny, depending on where he actually takes that, he might be able to do some work with it. But like I said before, I think Panzerschrecks are really going to be the way to go. They can definitely stop L6s from just fast moving down the roads and ripping through his infantry, because I think he's relying on things like Grenadiers and Osttruppen, right? And Osttruppen won't stand a chance. Grenadiers maybe, but they're a lot weaker than, say, Fallschirmjägers, and if the Fallschirmjägers pin down the Grenadiers before the L6 charges forwards, then he's going to be in trouble, in which case Johnny would want to bring in mortars early on. And yeah, this is just a very difficult matchup for the 352nd, because the 3rd Fallschirmjäger can put on pressure in so many different ways. Like, even if on the ground everything's sorted, like mortar fires coming in onto Fallschirmjägers, Pak-38 and Panzerschrecks are holding back the L6s, Corbeau can then rely on his air force. He could bring in a fighter early on and strafe specific units like Pak-38s and maybe even the Panzerschreck squads, and just take those out of the equation. So yeah, going into this game, 352nd definitely going to struggle, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's see what Corbeau's actually placed down here. So 2 units of Fallschirmjägers on the top side with the Fallschirmführer and a Panzer L6. There's going to be 2 Fallschirmjägers heading to the mid with another L6, and on the bottom side it's another 2 units of Fallschirmjägers with the Fallschirmführer and another L6. So basically just Fallschirmjägers, L6s in command. That is the entirety of Corbeau's lineup, and that is a very expensive set of infantry that he has. So Johnny, he will be at an advantage if he utilizes things like mortars early on, because that will definitely break down this strategy from Corbeau quite nicely. But of course he doesn't know that. He's just going to be going in blind. All he can rely on really is his knowledge of the division and what is likely to come his way. So on this top side we do see a Panzer III, and I actually really like this choice versus the Fallschirmjäger. As long as he doesn't get this too close to a Fallschirmjäger unit and gets it Panzerfausted, like as long as that doesn't happen, this should be able to deal with L6s quite nicely. It does lack the veterancy, and it can't be made 1-star due to the fact it's already a command tank, but definitely gonna stop the L6 from being super aggressive early on, and that's exactly what you need. Into that town is going to be a Grenadier unit. We have command coming towards the mid with a Pak 38. This is actually quite a decent place for a Pak 38 again to deal with L6s. But it really depends on how this actually, it might get pinned down by, like again, a fighter or something. I mean, that's actually been removed for now, but there's going to be an MG following that up either way. But the mid going to be some Fusiliers. On the bottom side we have some anti-air. There's going to be a Fallschirmjäger there, Grenadiers, and some Aufklärer in the Corbeau MG. So interesting lineup for Johnny. I really am worried that he's not bringing at least a mortar early on, because the infantry matchup is definitely something that I think should be in the front of your mind going into this game. Like again, Osttruppen and Grenadiers versus Fallschirmjägers. Fallschirmjägers are going to rip you apart. So relying on things like mortars, or even IG-18s actually, I completely forgot about IG-18s. IG-18s would be a really nice choice as well, especially along the more open areas, to help pin down that infantry. So seeing those would come out would be very nice indeed. So the AT gun for the mid's been changed out for the Panzerjäger 35 here, and there's been a Grenadier unit put towards the mid as well. Panzerschreck has joined this Fusilier squad, and I like that a lot. The Panzerschreck actually got taken away from the bottom side though. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned going into this setup from Johnny. Corbeau can't really go wrong with his, as there aren't too many threats that can punish him for doing this, other than, like I said, other than mortars and IG-18s. The Corbeau already pushing the +1. It looks like Johnny's deployment has definitely set him back early on. Flak 36 is unloaded pretty early on. Might be able to get some shots down the road though, which would be interesting to try and help pin some of this infantry early on. It hasn't quite been placed right. That's a shame. But either way, infantry get out safe and sound. Corbeau's probably got to almost every position that he wanted to be in. He even managed to get a Fallschirmjäger into the far side of this town. And, well, when it comes down to this Panzer III, if that Fallschirmjäger jumps forwards another building, gets a Panzerschreck off, that's going to be extremely deadly for Johnny. Oh no, Johnny's moving forwards into the line of fire of that Panzerfaust. I mean, if you can pin it down, this would be worth it. But the initial Panzerfaust there, getting a transmission damage not long until the second one comes out. That's going to be a surrender or even a kill if obviously it penetrates. And that's kind of left these Grenadiers in a pretty sticky spot there. Especially with the Fallschirmjäger coming up, the Panzer L6 is going to be advancing on that. Corbeau knows how to exploit these weaknesses. Panzerschreck, will it kill the L6? It actually missed, and that is huge. Panzerschreck really needs to stay alive here. Gets killed off by the Fallschirmjägers, and that is a real shame there. Wow, Grenadiers did manage to kill off the Fallschirmjäger on the ground before they got into cover. So Corbeau has lost himself that veterancy, but the Grenadiers are now gone. Johnny is going to be trying to reinforce that, but I don't think he's confident running into the L6 here. And that's going to definitely make things difficult. The Fusiliers are being ran down by the L6. Look at this. Oh my god, poor guys. You're watching them running away as the L6 is charging them down. That's actually quite amusing to watch, but they're going to surrender in the end. L6 has now come up against the Panzerjäger 35, so Johnny moving that into position. This Panzerjäger is actually getting quite aggressive in the mid here. I'm a little bit concerned it's just going to get killed off by a Fallschirmjäger there. If you can't see the sort of front line pushing forwards, the closer your tank gets to the front line, then you know there's something in the way, and in this case it's always going to be a Fallschirmjäger squad, and that's a Panzerjäger down. So yeah, the Grenadiers did have to unload early. The trouble is with like the 352nd in their infantry is it doesn't have any inherent AT, so Grenadiers are kind of useless here. The Fusiliers are okay, but they need to be within like 100 meter range, I think it is, in order to throw that AT grenade. So yeah, things aren't really looking good for Johnny right now. And the Fallschirmjägers are making ground on this bottom side. They are going to be spotted by the Aufklärer, I would assume, but there isn't too much that Johnny can really do about it. He needs like Panzer 35s or something to really sort of hold these Fallschirmjägers from a distance. Also, the Panzer 35s would maybe be able to deal with L6s. Like, getting rid of these L6s at this point would give him a lot of breathing room to use other tanks as sort of fire support for his cheaper infantry. Of course, once again, like, mortars would be a nice choice, but maybe not so much anymore since the L6s have broken through. So on this top side, it's going to be a Pack 40 coming in. That is available in phase A to the 352nd, but he's just got to make it count. If that gets killed or attacked before it unloads by this L6, he could be in trouble. Like, Johnny might allow that to get killed. This is interesting. Will Corbeau go for that attack? I mean, I think he might just get it anyway, right? Nope. So Johnny has unloaded it. Now we're going to be firing away onto the L6. The Fusiliers providing a little bit of a distraction there. So are these Grenadiers, but they got ripped to shreds in the open by the L6. Pack 40 is missing its shots. Really needs that Grenfjäger to be nearer. And, well, the Fallschirmjäger or Panzerjäger has been double teamed here. L6 is coming in from both sides. And now that leaves a lot of this infantry open to attack. I think the main thing that I'd like to see is more Panzerschrecks, because we've only seen one so far, right? So he definitely has more available. And those would be a way to take out the L6s moving forwards, but currently a lot of the infantry just being ripped apart. Now we do see that the ME-109s have been purchased and are going to be brought in early on by Corbeau just to pin down that AT gun, get rid of it, allow the L6 to be aggressive once again. And yeah, this is just incredible work here by Corbeau with these L6s, really making short work of any units that Johnny puts up against him. He's letting the Fallschirmjägers push ahead and then just bringing up the L6 in the rear. So there is a Panzerschreck on the way, but we'll have to see if that can get into a decent position. The main issue now is that the L6s are almost covering the road, and if they do manage to do so, like, getting Panzerschrecks into the right position is going to be incredibly hard. Now, track wheel damage onto the L6 as the Pack 40 did recover briefly. ME-109 does come in with the strafing run once again though. L6 has got very close here to the Panzerjäger, and we'll have to wait and see if that can just pop out and get a kill there. Now we do see that the Fallschirmjäger squad did get killed off before it unloaded, so really nice kill actually from the Fallschirmjäger. But this matchup really proving difficult for Johnny right now, and I don't blame him. It's actually a really difficult one to navigate. There are ways to sort of counter this playstyle, like the L6 Fallschirmjäger, like I already mentioned, but he's already been pushed out of the positions which are easier to deal with this. So like this town on the top side here, it would be a really good place to have Panzerschrecks, for example, but he's missed his opportunity there. Now we're going to be seeing the double team onto the Panzerjäger, and the shooter wounded is not going to make things any easier. Wow, the L6 comes in at close range there. This Panzerschreck really needs to get into cover as soon as possible. But look at that territory gain for Corbeau early on. +3 now on the board. L6 is finding and killing off this infantry at close range. Again, no AT available on any of this infantry for Johnny. And he is going to be smoking off his Grenadiers there to give him a chance to run away. But I'm not entirely sure how long that's going to last with that L6 able to just run him down. Another Panzerschreck on the way. Again, that's what he needs right now, just to pick off the L6s. Then he can use other forces to pin and then therefore surrender the Panzerjägers, or Fallschirmjägers, sorry. But in this case, no, Panzerschreck gets spotted in the open, gets taken out. This Panzerschreck, can it kill one? Oh no! It's a driver wounded, and the L6 doesn't even get pinned in the process. That is a dead Panzerschreck squad. Possibly. Oh, did just manage to get away. Maybe he can find a second shot. Just it'd be nice to see Johnny kill at least one of these L6s before the end of the game. Because so far, things are definitely going very badly for him. And yeah, the Panzerschreck in the mid, I think, also missed an L6 over here. And I'm not sure it would have made too much of a difference moving forwards. But these Panzertreks missing or not getting kills is devastating, honestly, and really does put Johnny in an even worse position if he can't even rely on those. Kubel MG here is probably going to get killed off by the Fallschirmjäger's machine guns, and that will cut off the Grenadiers in this town, and that's going to leave Johnny here with 4 units defending. The front or top side land spawn, I think, has been denied. I think Corbeau might be able to deny the bottom one as well. I think that, yeah, I think that one's dimmed out a little bit there, so he can't spawn anything on the top side to get rid of that. Pack 40's been strafed to death by the ME-109, now the L6 can clean up. The Grenadiers are coming across the open, but doesn't really matter. I think the Pack 40 once again got a track wheel damage rather than a kill. So 2 L6s on the top side, surviving Pack 40 shots, which isn't something you see particularly often, but one thing you don't definitely see is a +5 with almost 90% territory lead. That is 2 land spawns taken away from Johnny, and the only one he has left is in the mid here. And these Grenadiers are going to be ran down, and maybe the last land spawn is going to be taken. This is the first competitive game I think I've ever seen where all land spawns have been denied. There is quite simply zero way now that Johnny can come back in this game. +5, 91% territory lead. Probably one of the most dominating performances ever. And I guess this is one thing you could say for just Axis versus Axis or Allied versus Allied matchups in general. They're not super balanced because that's not what the developers go for, right? They don't expect people to play Axis versus Axis or Allied versus Allied. It's more just sort of like a thing you do for fun. But in this case, in it being a competitive tournament, you can see the stark contrasts here, and with 94% territory lead, Corbeau forces Johnny to surrender after 11 minutes and 1 second. That was pretty spectacular. That L6 Fallschirmjäger combo worked a treat. And I talked about how effective it could be, but I didn't expect that outcome towards the end of the game. Yeah, incredible stuff. 1,230 kills to 170 losses. The L6s went to work. In terms of kills, yep, Fallschirmjäger is definitely cleaning up, but the L6 is doing way more work onto all of the Grenadiers, Grenadier. 2 Panzerjäger kills there for one of the L6s. This Fallschirmjäger killed one in the mid, which was a bit careless really from Johnny. Not having that supported by infantry to like spot the Fallschirmjägers first was a bad idea. And in terms of what he did kill, well, 1 Panzertrek got an L6 in the end. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen those Panzertreks come out earlier on. Like, bring out as many Panzertreks as you can in Phase A against the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. And once the L6s are dead, it allows you to stabilize very well, because you're not going to be dealing with any more significant armor. You'll have some Stugs come out in the end, but the Pack 40 should be able to deal with the Stugs quite nicely. So yeah, it's just a matter of surviving that early game, and in this case, Johnny did not, and it's a shame. But either way, Johnny is going to be dropping down to the lower bracket. Corbeau moves on to round 3. So congratulations to him. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.